nurse practitioner, and I've done a fair amount of teaching as well as nursing in my career. One of my jobs was involved with public education, so this is an extension for me of doing that. So the reason I wanted to do this program was because of my job at one of the hospitals. I was what's called a consultation liaison nurse, and that's a very fancy name for a psychiatric nurse working in a hospital counseling patients and families. So I had lots of experience with end-of-life issues because most of the time I was either working in the emergency room or working in the critical care units. In the critical care units, the majority of time I was working with people at the end of life and counseling them about dying and counseling their families about letting go and working with them to help them understand the process. In the emergency room, I was working very frequently with families of younger people. Unexpected death, unexpected serious illness, those kinds of things. And many times, in both situations, the person who was dying had not made plans to help them navigate end-of-life issues. So that's the reason I like to do this kind of a program, because if we are able to talk about it, we talk about it with other people, with our families, with friends, with lawyers, with counselors, whoever, we're better prepared, and we're preparing our family to better accept what's going on and to know what to do in the event that we die. I mean, we're all going to die at some point, but it just helps people to navigate everything a little bit easier. So this is what I'm going to be talking about. What it is and why it's important. Taking charge of your care. How beliefs and values enter into this process. Documents that are helpful. Medical care. Who will speak for you? Financial issues. Palliative care versus hospice care. Funeral options. Alternatives to traditional burials, pets, starting conversations, and then tools, checklists, and books. What it is and why it's important. End-of-life planning involves making decisions about your care in your final stages of life. It includes medical care and what happens when you die. It is important because it will help you and your loved ones know what to do at the end of life when decisions can be difficult. It can prevent stress for you and your family as you maintain control over what happens to you. It's a gift that you give to your family to save them the stress of trying to understand your wishes and your estate. How do you backspace on this?
I don't.
Anybody here know computers?
Try the backspace. Did you use a backspace button?
No, I use the enter button. Where's the backspace button? Thank you very much.
So you just flipped it again. Did you want that picture? Is that what you wanted?
This is the one I wanted.
Okay,
Thanks. That one's next.
good.
You'll cover that?
I am new to PowerPoint. The first time I started using PowerPoint was after I moved here. So I'm still in the learning process. Taking charge of your care. It's important to decide and document your preferences and then discuss them with your family. These can be difficult conversations, but it will let your family understand what you want so your decisions are understood by everyone. It is not a one and done conversation, but may involve multiple conversations over time. My sister-in-law is my power of attorney, and I wanted her to know all about my care, what I wanted, and I'm hers, depending upon who goes first. But she's 9 years younger than me, so the odds are in my favor that I'll go first. It took until this year, even though I've talked to her at multiple times, for her to accept the fact that I wanted to talk to her about it. So it's not, I mean, what can I tell you? It's difficult conversations. It's not only a not one and done conversation, but it's multiple conversations over years sometimes. That's why I have this slide, because it involves talking to families. I have a lot of questions. I don't have answers for you, but I want to jog your memory, jog your thinking, so that you can figure out what's going to work for you. So these are some of the things to think about. These are beliefs and values. What are your faith traditions having to do with end of life? What are your beliefs about death? What type of medical care do you want? Do you want hospital care, home care, palliative care, hospice? Is prolonging life as long as possible, or quality of life more important to you? Do you want a funeral, a burial, a memorial service, cremation? Do you own a cemetery plot? The more specific you are, the more easily your wishes will be carried out. What matters most to you? I'm not sure if everybody knows what palliative care is, and I wanted to go over this a little bit with you. Palliative care is specialized medical care for people with serious illnesses. It focuses on providing relief from symptoms and on quality of life. The team works with your primary care provider to provide an extra layer of care. It is covered by Medicare. It does not need to be a terminal diagnosis, and that's one of the most important differences between the two. It does not need to be a terminal diagnosis. Hospice care is provided to patients when a medical provider says the person has a prognosis of 6 months or less to live. Curative care is stopped. That means that active treatment is stopped. In palliative care, that's not the case, but in hospice care, active treatment is stopped, and the focus becomes comfort care as well as quality of life. It is also covered by Medicare. So there are choices here. Some people only think of hospice care, and they think they have to wait till the end of life to do it, but palliative care can also be an option. Then we wanted to talk a little about what some documents might be needed. For example, a living will, an advance directive, which is an advance directive. You write down what you want on a piece of paper, designating who you want to talk for you if you cannot talk. Then there's power of attorneys. That could be medical, financial, or both. Some people prefer to get trust because a trust can protect you in many different ways. These are all things they need to think about and make decisions about. Then there's a sheet of paper called a POST, Practitioner's Order for Life-Sustaining Treatment.
What? Say that again.
Physician's orders for life-sustaining treatment.
You gave it a name.
POLST, P-O-L-S-T. That's the abbreviation. That's the initials from that. There are forms in the clinic for this. This is for somebody who knows they're dying relatively soon and they don't want further treatment. It's a document that is discussed with your physician. The physician and you make a decision about what you want, and you both sign it. And it's a physician's order. So if an EMT comes to your apartment, they're obligated to follow the order. So you can state in the document exactly what you want, And because it has a physician's signature, it's legally binding. Whereas sometimes, in an emergency situation, the decision is to treat and then decide whether or not to stop treatment. But this can direct them specifically about what kind of treatments you want or don't want. And it is available in the clinic. You can review it. It looks like this. It's two-sided. One side has information, the other side has the goals of treatment, what you want, and the doctor's signature. But it's available in the clinic. I spoke to Simone about this, and she says they're available.
They're available what, now?
Now,
And you're,
they're
when you're
available
ready?
now if you want them, yes.
okay.
All you have to do is ask at the front desk. And then there's also life insurance policies. Make sure they're up to date. All these things you should really review every year or two just to make sure everything's up to date. Other documents that you might want to have handy are Social Security card, your password list, when your bills are due, when the bills are paid, how they're paid, is it online or is it in mail, car title, credit cards, etc. We don't think of these things as part of end-of-life care, but these are things that your survivor will need when they're starting to plan for what happens after you're gone. Where do you store your documents? Is there a key? Do you have a safety deposit box? All of these things should be discussed with family members so that they know where things are. Medical care. I wanted to point this out because this is something that's really important. It's important to discuss your end-of-life care with your primary care provider. If he or she is unwilling to talk to you about this, consider whether or not you want to continue with this individual. Many providers are uncomfortable with these discussions because their focus is on curing. At some point, curing is not a realistic goal, and palliative care or hospice is a preferred method. Be sure to give your provider a copy of your advance directive and use it as a basis for discussion. I introduced my sister-in-law to my primary care providers so that they would know each other. I brought her to one of my medical appointments. Who will speak for you? Do you have a proxy for your advance directive? Do you have a power of attorney, both medical and financial? Does your family understand who will be in charge of decisions if you are no longer able to make decisions for yourself? Is this person familiar with medical terminology? Have they met your providers?
I think I got everybody.
Financial issues. Do you have a co-signer on your checking accounts and your savings accounts? Are your beneficiaries up to date? Will your power of attorney and your executor know where to find your accounts? Your IRAs, retirement accounts, Social Security information, and other financial information. And trusts. Funeral options. To have or not have. Religious traditions, of course, come into play here also. Do you want to be buried or cremated? Do you want music, speeches, eulogy? Do you want a viewing, a headstone? Do you have a burial plot? Do you want pallbearers? Do you want to name pallbearers? Do you want an obituary? And who should be invited to your funeral? While I was doing research on this, I found that there are more alternatives to traditional burials than I realized. So I wanted to go over some of these with you. Water cremation. It's also called alkaline hydrolysis or aquamation. It uses a combination of heat, pressure, and a chemical bath which dissolves the body. This produces a sterile fluid which is discarded and the bones are turned into ash. Green burials. The body is wrapped in a biodegradable container or shroud with no embalming, casket, or grave liners. Not all cemeteries allow this type of burial, but there are several in South Jersey. Human composting or soil transformation. Bodies are placed in a bed of plant material inside a cylindrical container. Over a 45-day process, the body is gently transformed into a nutrient-rich soil. Laws were passed in 2020 to allow this process in licensed facilities. Companies work with local funeral homes to transport the body to their facility. Burial at sea. Some funeral homes specialize in sea burials. The body or cremains are transported by boat or plane 3 nautical miles from land and at a depth of at least 600 feet. And you can check online if this is something you would be interested in. There are funeral homes that you can find that do provide this service. And then the next one is donating your body to science. In New Jersey, this is usually run by Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School Anatomical Association or Mercer County Mortuary Science Training Program. And you can get in touch with those organizations if you're interested in this. And people can also register with out-of-state facilities. Usually, when you donate your body to science, they will take care of the cremation. They usually cremate the body afterwards. Don't forget about pets. Designate somebody to care for your pet when you are hospitalized or too ill to care for them. Who will have custody when you die? Decisions must be discussed prior to an emergency to get the custodian's consent. Written instructions for caretakers include name and phone number of vet, food preferences, medications, etc. Starting conversations. Be prepared. Know in advance what you want. Be patient. Family and friends may not be ready when you are to have this discussion. Be insistent. Putting discussions off because it's uncomfortable for you or a loved one makes end-of-life care more challenging for everyone. Tools and checklists. Compassionate Choices has this booklet. I had tried getting copies of it. I asked in December for copies, and I'm still waiting for them to come. But you can get individual copies very easily. They said they didn't have enough to send me 50 copies. But the nice thing about this is that it not only explains things, but there are also forms in here that you could fill out, including things about end-of-life wishes to provide to medical providers, advanced care directives, and it also has one on dementia care. So if you're interested in this book, that's the first item up on that board. So please consider this. You can also look online for end-of-life planning checklists. I also purchased 2 books. One of them is called I'm Dead, Now What? And it basically has step-by-step information, putting all your information in this booklet so that whoever is going to be in charge of you, either if you're ill and can't speak for yourself, or when you die, your executor would be able to know what you want and where things are. It's a very lengthy process. The reason I only have this sheet is because I started working on mine, and I didn't want to bring it because it's got all the information, and I didn't want to take it out of my apartment. So, but I bought one for me and I bought one for my sister-in-law. Hint, hint, I was pushing her a little bit again. But it really takes quite a bit of time to work your way through this. I was amazed at all the information that I could put in this document that I didn't even know should be readily available. I don't know if you've ever had to be an executive for somebody who did not plan in advance, but it took my sister-in-law 2 years to complete her brother's estate. And it was very trying for her because she was grieving her brother. Another one that Amazon has is this one. This is sorry, it's your problem now because I'm dead. So both of these were very inexpensive. They're about $10 each. So it's not going to break the bank. But the first one that I showed you is free. All you have to do is call for it. So your choice. And then I wrote away to the company that does the soil transformation burial. And if anybody is interested in this, I'm a gardener, so this somehow appeals to me. But if you're interested in something like this, I can share the information with you.
Could you repeat that?
Repeat.
I didn't hear what this was in, what you said about this.
About the last thing?
No, the first one.
Oh, the first one is called Compassionate Choices. It's an organization that deals with end-of-life stuff, and they're the ones that had this booklet that I showed the first time, and it's free. So you can either call that number or go online, and they'll send you a copy. That's how I got this one. I ordered this one for myself just to see what was available before I called them back and asked for 50. But the 50 haven't come, and if it hasn't come in 3 months, I suspect I'm not getting it. So I'm just encouraging everybody, if you want one, to look at it, get it yourself. If you would like to take a look at this after the program, I'll be happy to let you take a look at it.
All you have to do is hit the red button to stop it.
And then there are several really good books about end-of-life care, and these are some of them that I'm familiar with. Some of them deal with elderhood. They're not necessarily end-of-life things, but they're really excellent books if you're interested in exploring this topic a little bit more. And if you'd like, just take a photo of that slide.
I don't want to get on camera. I can't sit anymore. My leg is killing me. So I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
Is that okay? And I know whatever she's telling me.
End notes. We need to accept our mortality in order to plan for end-of-life care.
And I even have my
We need to live with double awareness
have everything.
that we're going to die someday,
Make sure.
but we want to live our life now with
They're
joy.
very good at that.
End-of-life planning is a selfless act of love. Be a good role model for others. I was very fortunate. My parents were good role models. We discussed end-of-life issues on a regular basis, starting when I was 21. Because my parents were going to Europe and they wanted me to know, just in case. They were a little nervous about traveling way back then. So we talked about end-of-life issues when I was only 21. Any questions or comments about this?